Epik Mellon podcast. Conversations with the real humans behind broadband networks, cybersecurity, and the future of communications. Brought to you by QA Cafe.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of the Epik Mellon podcast. It is, when we're recording this right now, it is currently the week of the 4th of July. So we're in like the doldrums of work around here. There's nobody here. So I have Brian with me. And before I pronounce his last name, I want everyone to know that I have actually said it out of my mouth many hundreds of times, but I don't think that I have ever got it right because it's very French and there's a lot of vowels.
Too
Dubreuil.
many. Too many vowels.
There's too many vowels. Dubreuil.
That, I mean, for the English version of it, yes, that's perfectly fine.
Right. What I can do with my palate.
Yes. Yeah. Obviously it's had all sorts of different pronunciations over the years. No one believed that there was that many vowels in a row, so they changed one to a consonant. The second U became a V, so I was Dubreuil.
Oh, right. You changed because the U. Yeah,
Like,
they were going Roman.
Not possible. Why would there be three vowels in a row?
Brian if you have used CD router at all, then you probably know who Brian is because he's helping to support you. But he does a lot of other things around here too. Most of which, are walk this fine line of him maintaining sanity. And so
This is quite true.
Yeah, so it's like I want to eventually everybody who I think has a good enough radio personality to be on the podcast that works here at QA Cafe. I'm eventually going to get to everybody, and so I thought this was a great time to have you on. So,
well, I am the jack of all trades, master of none. That's what I feel like. I know a little bit about everything, but not expertise in all of it. So,
or what we used to say, enough to be dangerous, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
As usual, the Epik Mellon podcast is brought to you by our employers here at QA Cafe. So the views expressed by ourselves do not reflect those of QA Cafe or its ownership. And that's true. That's true for both of us.
My opinion's my own. Okay.
Yeah. But we know that.
Yeah.
So this podcast is brought to you by our great products that we both work on. That includes CD Router, which is the industry standard test platform for broadband gateways, Wi-Fi devices, and other CPE, with thousands of pre-made test cases designed by experts like us that can save you tons of time and effort in qualifying your devices and making sure that they work well for your end users. Similarly, as Passport, which does a lot of the same things for end devices like set-top boxes, smart home devices, and anything that is synced. Well, I like to say anything that's syncing packets instead of routing. Anything that's using them. Right. And it is as easy as selecting tests, pushing a button, and getting clear pass-fail results so that you can solve problems before they end up as bad reviews on Amazon. And then on the network analysis side, we have CloudShark, which is built to help people work together on packet captures so you can work on complex issues that you have that data for seamlessly with leaving comments and sharing them and securing them all in one place. And then also now Packet Viewer, which is our OEM solution for adding web-based packet analysis that is accessible to your users within your own application with very minimal development and very easy licensing. So that's our new stuff.
Nice. The portfolio of our products is getting bigger.
It is getting bigger every day. And then we have like the side joke ones that we might do.
Right. Yes. Oh, you mean like the Wi-Fi cable?
Yeah, like the Wi-Fi cable. Yeah. It's very long. It guarantees, full, 10 gigabit per second connectivity.
Yeah.
Why would you go wrong?
Yeah. There's been a couple that have come through that I think should have been how can we forget the answer?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, basically a paperclip.
Yeah. Did you factory reset it?
Correct. Please do.
Oh, I saw a great video the other day of this woman who was showing how all of the accessories that she had on when she was doing IT work were useful. And one of them was exactly that. She's like, you don't have a paperclip? No problem. But she pulled out her
See?
earring and did a factory reset. I was like, yes, that's
Yep.
slick.
Yep. We should have branded it when we had a chance.
Yep, yep, the answer. Yeah. So, Brian, we all have history here, and some of it is the same, but a lot of it is not. And I wanted to get your side of the story of because you've been here for how long now?
Uh, just under 10 now.
Just under 10.
Yeah, I
Right.
think
Which
10
seems
is
like an
it's
eternity
March.
because
It does
we've
seem it does seem like a long time.
it's like COVID made things seem longer, but it still
This is
seems like an
true.
eternity.
Yeah, there's that weird, strange period of time that
Yeah.
condensed time and expanded time at the same moment.
So remind me again what you did before here.
Oh boy, lots of different things. I mean, go all the way back. I was a developer. That's what I did
Hmm.
when I got out of school. And then at one point, I got into the test side of the market. I guess that was probably, oh God, now I'm aging myself. Late '90s, sometime.
That's all we do
Um,
here.
yeah. And so I started doing, I was a developer at that point, and we had no one to help our one customer at the time. So they asked if I would help, and holy smokes, I actually was pretty good at it. So my career path changed
A
at that point.
developer who can talk to people? What's going
Right. Right. I was not, I can talk to people and computers. It was great. It was a good combination.
on?
So yeah, basically I've been in the test industry since the late '90s.
What was that though? Because that wasn't in networking, was it?
It
Or was
actually
it?
was. It was,
Yeah, it
but it
was.
was more core routers.
Right, right.
So protocol, core router protocols like BGP and OSPF,
Hmm.
those type of
The things that
protocols.
bring the internet down.
Yes, yeah. And the customers were again they were core equipment, and now
Right.
I moved out to the edge, but I
Yeah.
stayed in the
Yeah.
same. Not by chance. I mean, by chance, not by design.
No, no, no. But that's how most of our lives have
Yeah,
happened. I
yeah,
actually like where we are though, and I wrote an article about this about how being on the edge is cool because the the products that we deal with are cooler, but
yeah.
also we're the users,
Exactly. No,
right?
true.
I just had like I literally just replaced our router at home, and so I actually you would have been so proud. So like I actually need a good app to measure signal strength because everything out there is crap. It's just speed tests, right? And I tried UC's thing, Himina, but it wants you to like upload floor plans and stuff first, and I
Hmm.
just didn't have the time to
Oh
do
yeah,
that.
that's wow.
Yeah, yeah, his stuff is really cool, and you can use
Yeah.
it for free. The
Wow.
Himina wireless thing, but you basically have to like tell it a little bit about your house, right?
Yeah.
It's
Right.
it's not like you can't like walk around with your laptop and do stuff. That's what I would love to have in an app form. So teenager complaining about latency on video games. I get a new I get a new router given to me by a very good friend who I should have on the show, and I finally had the time to fire it up tomorrow, and you'd be so proud of it. I put it in. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm going to do this right this time. I'm going to put it not right next to the wall. I'm gonna I'm gonna walk around. I'm gonna do. So all I had was speed tests. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do speed test in this room. Then
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn the repeaters on and do a speed test again. And it was like, it was a fun day. It was a fun day.
I I have obviously being in the industry like my folks. I know everything about the internet,
Hmm.
right? So I have to fix it. So I'm like, they put their access point in the closet. I'm like, yes, I know it's hideous to look at, but that defeats the purpose of.
No, and that's why I really think we need to like start a company I've said this a couple times
Yeah,
on the show, but
yeah.
so it's like patent pending. Uh, to make routers that look like hanging plants or ceiling
Yeah,
fans, right?
yeah. It's
Because
something
that's the
that
best place.
just put it something you want to be in the center of your room,
Yeah, yeah,
right? So
yeah, and yeah. So you're right, and it's like the as users, it's interesting because it's like we know enough to know what's really going on
right.
and what we can and can't do about things.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So it's like, oh well, blah 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 is not working, and I'm like, okay. Are you ready for the number of things it could possibly be?
Right. Right.
But
Yeah.
people see the Wi-Fi as the internet, so
You took, I am impressed because I didn't get a phone call.
oh,
And
I
you
know. I almost did though because I have to the repeaters were connected to the old router, right? And now I have to go through the process of basically resetting them completely
yes.
so that they'll
Yeah.
connect to the new one. So I almost did.
But you didn't, so I'm impressed.
No, no, and our family is very much against running any more wires in the house, so
Hmm.
I'm not going to run an Ethernet cable to my room into Sky's room.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess it is fun to be. It is more fun to be on the edge. It's like a little more, I don't know, lively,
Yeah,
for lack of a
right.
better term.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's it's more. I don't know. It's more wireless. It's all consumer electronic stuff. I feel like it is, but
Yeah.
for the unsaid thing that is responsible for everything you do now, it's fun to be where we. Yeah. How many how many deaths at one time do you usually deal with on a regular basis?
Well, I don't know.
Devices under test, by the way. Before I go through
Yes,
an acronyms.
that's device under test. There are hundreds in the lab.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't have to touch them, play with them, set them up every single day. But yeah, it makes for an interesting environment in the office
Oh, right.
because of all the Wi-Fi that is on. It's not an ideal situation
Yeah.
to try and use the regular Wi-Fi to do something like this.
I bet our neighbors love it.
Our neighbors probably are wondering why their service isn't so good. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, not even that. We have the hundreds here. Plus, since we're in a large mill building, they're
Mhm.
our neighbors. So we
Oh, you're
see
right.
theirs as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Which is a
yeah,
very
no.
interesting problem that operators have been trying to solve in like other places around the world. But here too, they'll do it with new buildings where if it's an apartment building, they don't have you go get your internet service on your own, right? You do it through the
Oh,
building.
the building usually, yeah, I think a lot of places have done that where they have set up a contract with
Right.
whoever, and then you just use that Wi-Fi.
Well, right, because if you that way, there's not 100 different APs in the building, like
Yeah,
that are all
right,
looking at
exactly.
each other, or 100 different routers, right, that are all doing their own thing.
Much easier to
Yeah,
handle that way, I'm sure.
and plus in here where it's like post and beam and brick, like
Also, not very
imagine it's
good.
weird. Yeah, I know.
Not the most ideal.
Yeah. So Brian is a Cisco certified wireless network
Actually,
administrator.
it's an industry neutral one.
Oh, it is. It's not the
Yeah,
Cisco one. You're right. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
did do the Cisco one. Oh God, back when it was probably just when 802.11g came out, so quite a while ago. I did have the Cisco one as well, but yeah, no, I just completed the industry neutral one.
Cool, cool. Yeah. And so, like now, it's we talk about Wi-Fi a lot on the show, a lot, right? Because it's the edge network, it's consumer facing, it's the stuff we deal with on a regular basis, and all our friends are Wi-Fi people, right? Um, but it's just sort of interesting to me, and I'm just curious about what you know about this and your thoughts on it about like how the different technologies have changed and how there's every time that it solves an old problem, there's a new problem. Like just when we were trying to set up this podcast, right? Like closing the doors in this building, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, yeah, no. Obviously, well, Wi-Fi is tricky. I think with the new technologies, you're right. They're always trying to solve a previous problem, but it creates a new one that they probably didn't anticipate.
Yeah.
Um, though I think that's happening less and less. I
Hmm.
think the return on investment, I guess, every time they change the protocol, it gets a little better and there's less problems.
Right.
Yeah, no,
Oh, that's good.
for here, yeah, it's just the Wi-Fi signal is the Wi-Fi signal. That hasn't changed, right? I mean, you close the door and the signals can't get in, just like a light can't get in, right?
Right.
If you close the door. So Brick is not a good thing for Wi-Fi signal. Glass really isn't that great either. Because
Well,
it's
no, and that's
barrier.
apparently not.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and then you have the clients themselves. Like
Right.
the client is the one that decides whether or not it's going to change which access point it's connected to.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes they're aggressive trying to stay to one because they don't want you to lose that connection, even
Right,
though it's a
right,
better
right,
one.
right. Well,
But
because right, they're trying to maintain your experience.
that's right.
Yeah, not knowing that they're actually making it shittier.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. Huh.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's crazy because it happens so often. Just like, but it like that's supposed to be part of the math of figuring all this out, right? And making
yeah,
Wi-Fi much more intelligent, which we've always said, like the fact that we have to make it more intelligent is a testament to I've said this even on the last one. I've said this so many times. Because UC said this, right? That it's a victim of its own success. So it's everywhere and it's trying to do everything and it can't do everything. We expect it to do everything. And so all of the technology that people have developed have been trying to satisfy that expectation.
yeah, yeah. Right, right. No, it's good. It's definitely better for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. When it could be easier to just run a cable.
Well, hence the Wi-Fi cable, right?
Yeah.
That's a surefire 100% connectivity.
Well, because I always wonder about that. Like you look at things holistically. It's like, and you'll love this. So at some point in this show, we're going to talk about how Brian and I have the exact same favorite movies and why. Uh, but in Gladiator, when
Definitely up there.
up there, right? They're making a sequel, which whatever. Okay. Um, uh, when when the emperor in the beginning says so much for the glory of Rome, right? All I think is like so much for the glory of Wi-Fi. Because we put so much money and industry effort into trying to get it to work right.
Yeah.
When maybe it would have just been easier to wire your house up, you know?
Yeah. I remember, geez, time is a figment of my imagination, but maybe it was like 20 years ago, maybe even 25 years ago. I remember a friend of mine building a house and like from scratch. And they were like so excited because they were going to put Ethernet in every room, right? Because they had the walls open and exposed.
It's a good idea. It's a
right?
good idea. Lincoln did it, right? My best friend, who is an imaginary person who I've brought up several times on the show, and we've decided it's a running gag that he doesn't really exist. But I do have a friend named Lincoln, and that's what he did when he built his house. Is he made
See?
sure there was Ethernet everywhere, right?
Yep.
And it's a good idea.
Yeah.
But now they're talking about fiber to the room. Have you heard about that?
No, I haven't.
Wow. Yeah, I actually have to talk to the ITUT next week about this, right? Because they're talking about how to do device management.
Yep. Right.
And they want to do some things over OMCI and whatever. But yeah, so they're basically the ONT becomes the optical network termination point. I'm always going to say what my acronyms are. The optical network termination point has like a mini like fake OLT, optical line termination point. What is it? Line? I don't remember.
I think so.
Yeah.
But those acronyms lose their meaning sometimes.
Right. It has like a mini one.
Yep.
And then it redistributes things in like another PON, passive optical network to the room, right? So they're going to be wiring the building with fiber, right?
Wow.
It's a great idea if you want to sell optical ports.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, I've decided I'm trying to stick on the wireless train. We'll see. We'll see which one wins.
Well, the thing is like because it's a victim of its own success, that's people are designed for it. So, I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that Asus, my laptop's Asus, they happen to include an Ethernet dongle with my laptop. That didn't happen to me with the last 3 laptops I bought. But there's no port. There's no Ethernet port on most things.
Oh yeah.
What are you gonna do? You know?
My MacBook doesn't have an Ethernet port.
Right.
It came with a dongle.
Yeah. So it's just not the expectation anymore.
Nope.
You know? And it's like, what are you gonna do with this? You know?
Yeah. Right. What are you going to do with that? It's going to be kind of weird.
You-
Oh, no, we're going back to the old telephones that were on the wall.
Oh man, that would be wicked funny. You know what I find fascinating about that is there's some things that become part of like the collective human unconscious. So like maybe it's just a consequence of the fact that now a lot of kids shows are timeless, like Blue's Clues and stuff. But like my daughter, my 4-year-old daughter knows what a handset telephone is. She's never seen one in real life,
Oh, weird.
right? But she
Yeah.
knows what it looks like and what this means and like,
Huh. Yeah,
right? When is that going to go away?
right. Well, I mean, I guess people know where phone booths are.
Yeah. Yeah, right. People still know what phone booths are. Yeah. They're mostly used for getting into secret places and changing into superheroes, but
Right. Right. Yeah, you always need one of those around.
yeah. 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 It's very bizarre. We actually have a phone booth here in the office
Yes, we
in the
do.
next room. Yeah. That
Yeah.
our owner Joe picked up and actually wired to be able to take calls, not but take calls from his cell phone.
Right. Right. Forwarded the line to that one.
Yeah. It was great. Yeah. So I mean, you are of the generation that has witnessed the transformation. I'm on like the end of it, right? Because I'm like the last possible person of Gen X, like to the point where I'm in the little micro generation,
Oh,
the
yeah. No,
the Oregon Trail generation,
yeah. I'm probably smack dab in the middle of Gen X, I assume.
right? Yeah. So it's like we're the kinds of people who grew up not having any concept of that kind of connectivity, and then suddenly having it for everything.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, so she's no one. That's the sound my daughter will never hear is the old dial up,
Oh, that puts me at peace.
right?
Yeah.
You know, I always wondered, like, so my daughter's 17 now. So there's been a lot of things that I just assume that it's weird because I lose track of time again because I'm like, ah, she must know what that is. I'm like, wait a second, she's never seen one,
Never.
right? Whatever that is.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I forget that, wait a second, she's a lot younger than me.
She will never know the joys of LAN parties.
No, no, this is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're you're not a gamer at all, right? You haven't jumped in any.
Not so. I'm a former gamer, right?
Oh, do tell.
I'm a recovering gamer.
Well, why
I mean,
what was your poison?
so back in I was a Commodore 64 person. Like, I was on that thing every day, and it's so.
For some reason, we all know BASIC.
Yes, we all know BASIC, and I can't even imagine. So my daughter's kind of turning into a little bit of a gamer. She's, but like she doesn't have the joys of waiting for games to load. Or when you cross a certain threshold on the map, having to swap the floppy disk
Oh
to
yeah.
get to the next part of the map.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's when I was really into it.
If you want to go down a nostalgia crash, they have they have all those. So I think Steam does, but like
Steam has it.
GOG has their own little platform that you can run, and it has to basically like really tweak your CPU speed and everything, or else nothing makes any sense.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the game, but there was one, and I'm the type. I've seen memes or videos of this. So I'm the type that I have to find all the loot, and I
Yeah.
have to find every corner of the map.
You're a completionist. That's okay.
Yeah.
That still exists.
Yeah. Yeah. No, my daughter is not. She's like, get to the end and kill the
Do you
big
avoid
boss.
main quests?
Yeah. Just get through it. And I'm like, no, there's probably lots of nice little nuggets in the corner to get.
Yeah, you got to find all the Easter eggs too. Like, there's a lot of those.
So and I don't know why. I actually don't know why I fell out of it. I guess I got busy doing other things. I have many interests.
Right.
As
Golf.
I said, jack of all trades.
Golf being one of them.
Golf is one of them for sure.
Yeah. Myrtle Beach, which is funny because I saw, I think it's Sandro's car has a Myrtle Beach bumper sticker on it. I was
I
like,
meant to
wait a
ask him
minute,
about
this
that.
isn't Brian's car.
No, I meant to ask him about that.
Yeah. So what is it? Once a year you go down there?
Once a year. So this year it's our 30th year of going. Uh, that's wow. Again, just made myself old again. Uh, so the first trip was 1994, and
Cool.
there were just two of us. And then the next year there were four of us, and then the next year there was eight of us, and then it's been between like 12 and 20 friends. They're rotating cast, but there are two of us who went on that first trip, have gone every single year, and this will be our 30th trip. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, of
Yeah.
course, you're also just horrified me that 1994 was 30 years ago.
Well, sorry. Yeah.
I was a freshman in high school.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, it was my first venture down there. It was a good time.
Cool.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's and then I practice all summer long
Right.
for that trip.
That's cool. How's it? So, it's like, talk about getting better at stuff. Do you feel?
Uh, well, unfortunately, I feel like golf is one that there's so many peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
Uh, Things that used to work don't work anymore, and
Yeah.
I learn new ways to hit. I mean, it seems like a simple game. It's a ball. It's not moving. You just swing a club at it, and it's supposed to go in a general straight direction, and it doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah.
So like, it's funny. I used to be really good off the tee, so sending the ball up and just smashing it out there, and then from that point into the hole, I was awful. That ball
Right.
will go every which way. I can never get it into the hole in any reasonable amount of number. And now I'm the opposite. I can't get off the tee.
You were
But
playing a lot of mini golf.
yeah, but I feel like I should be playing mini golf. As soon as I get close, I can chip beautifully. I can putt beautifully. I just can't get off the tee now. So I'm like, what's going on? I just have
It's
to. I'm going to
interesting
say,
to me.
go ahead.
It's interesting to me just how much of a culture golf is, right? So like, there's like sometimes I'll go to a convention or something, and especially in the US, like there is a golf day,
Oh yeah,
right? So like, there's a set of people that is what all of that stuff is about,
yeah,
right?
yeah. It, it's social.
Hmm.
It's this exit. You're outside. You're walking. You're probably having an adult beverage or two. Like
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
just a great experience,
That's
and
cool.
it's a skill that you want to be better at for some strange reason. But see, like I always tell people, I'm good enough to want to get better. There's some people who
Right.
don't really care and
Hmm.
they're happy, but I'm at the stage where I'm like, I know I've seen myself hit a beautiful shot. I know I can repeat that.
Right.
Why
It's
can't
very
I?
it's very zen though.
Yeah,
Like the people who are very, 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 very good, like the big professionals,
yeah.
like they have things down to the point where they don't think.
It's actually amazing to me how much preparation they actually put. Like that's why I know I could never be professional. Like
Right.
the dedication and effort
It's
they put
it's
in.
it's the 80-20 rule, right? It's like you can be 80% good with 20% of your time.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And
And
to me,
then the rest of it takes the rest of your life.
the rest of your life. Yeah. And for me, it's still like I don't know if it's enjoyable. Like, I assume it's enjoyable for them, but it's also their profession.
Right.
I
Right.
do it because I enjoy it. I have no chance of being a professional anytime. So
Right.
I've chosen
So
Wi-Fi as my profession.
it's but you enjoy that though. You
I
enjoy
do.
it,
I
right?
do. Yes, I
Yeah.
do.
And it's kind of the same thing I feel where it's like, how do you feel about like how much, because there's plenty of things that you've probably learned by like actually like being educated about it, but for the most part, especially with the stuff that we deal with here, at least when it comes to triaging customer problems,
Hmm.
because one of the things that we say here is that like Brian exists to help you make better products, not just to like figure out what's wrong with CD router, right? Because you would think of a software support like is meant to sort of find bugs with our products and make sure that they don't affect you. But what we do at QA Cafe is actually be like, oh, well, we're kind of an extension of your test team where you run tests and you see failures, and we know an awful lot about the technology, and so we'll tell you why those things are failing. But you've certainly been educated on those things, but like, how much of it is just sheer experience at this point? Like, just having dealt with this stuff so often that you're like, yep, that's what it is.
It's probably 90% of it, right? I don't. Well, it's not that I wouldn't say I'm not learning anything via book or anything anymore, because I am, but
Right,
yeah,
obviously.
it's all the experience. I have a lot of experience. Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of things. Yeah,
I see it now. It's like
I could
Brian
be so
comes
many
out of the
places.
lab. He's like, I've seen some shit, man.
Sometimes it feels that way. Yeah, I've seen lots of things. But yeah, no, and the other thing is sometimes because we've seen so many, customers over the years, we can also shortcut. We can see where a person's about to head.
Oh yeah,
right?
It's kind of like a collective memory, right?
And we can stop them before they get there. We're like, we probably know that's probably a wrong direction to go, because we've seen 10 other customers go that way.
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting choices like that people make. Like things like we always say, like the general principles of protocols is that like be liberal in what you accept and stringent in what you send out, right? And then you'll probably have something that's more interoperable. But it's interesting the people that don't do that.
It always, there's some things always kind of like amaze me that I'm like, why? That's clearly not what you want to do. Why?
I want some examples. Give me some examples. You don't have to don't name names.
No. Well, it's just, God, I don't know. I might have to think about this one a little. I had one on top of my head and now it's gone, but it's, no, I have to come back to it. No,
so like, it's, I mean, very often, I mean, obviously Wi-Fi stuff comes up all the time.
Yeah.
Right? And those are like the invisible problems, and which is why we harp on stability all the time, because you don't know. Right. But some of them are, really simple stuff. Let me ask a kind of a teaser question about that. Do you find that there's a lot of times when you see the same issue, is it because obviously people are using the same libraries that somebody didn't fix before, that kind of a thing?
Oh, there's probably been some cases of that where you kind of know, or obviously we have both. We have people we have the people who actually make the product, and then service providers who use it. Right. So the service providers are going to run into the same issue that the vendor had. Right. So you kind of go like, without giving too much away, right? You're like, well, you might want to try this instead, because we know something about that is not going to work very well.
That's put you in some very, very weird positions too, right? Where you're effectively having to act as like a mediator between customers of each other.
Yeah. And also trying to figure out, okay, what did I say to this person that I didn't say to this one? Because it's the same problem. Right.
Like, I don't, right. And like, you don't want to be responsible for somebody losing a multi-million-dollar deal or something.
For sure. I'm just like, okay, and you always try to bait them and say, okay, did you guys actually talk to each other yet? Right. Because that's what I usually try to encourage, to get that out of the way. So I at least know that's established that, okay, they're talking to each other, so I can talk freely.
Right. Yeah. So help me, I'll turn this car around.
Right. Yeah. Stop hitting your sister.
Oh man, that's shifted though too, because now the operators are doing way more work than they used to. Right. They're like way more involved.
Absolutely. That definitely has been, at least if I would go over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I think at one point operators just assumed everything was tested. Right.
And they also didn't think it was their responsibility.
Right.
Because it was.
So they just said, okay, it must be right, because they said it was right. And then I think they poked in a little and realized, hey, wait a second, we can add some more value here.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's weird how, and again, because we're on the forefront of this experience, and it's especially with Wi-Fi, right? That it was consumer technology first. And so like in the sense that you and I as buyers of the products were the ones that had to understand and deal with the problems, right?
Right.
Originally, the network operator had nothing to do with that whatsoever. So it was this weird sort of retail thing. Then it started to be like they're providing you your own thing.
Right.
People were skeptical about it. You can buy your own, and if you do, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And now it's like totally different because they have a vested interest in making sure everything works for you.
Yeah.
And if they don't have control over the stuff that's making things work for you, then there's nothing they can do about it, but you're going to blame them anyway.
It seems like they would have a very an interest in making sure that the whole thing works, right?
Yeah, especially now because, as you know, but it's like it's nice because I've said this before on the show. Like I never imagined myself becoming a service provider advocate, but like now I understand what their situation is. You know,
Yeah, no,
it's
we have learned more. We do have a better appreciation, right?
right. It's like here is your customer. Your customer doesn't know anything about what what technology is responsible for what.
Yeah.
And when something goes wrong, it's your fault.
Yep.
Even if it's not your fault.
Yep.
So
yeah. Where I mean, as a consumer, where else you can't put the blame anywhere else? That's the only thing you know.
No, right. I don't blame the consumers either, right? It is the only thing you know. The Wi-Fi is the internet.
It is equal.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi equals internet.
Yeah.
We're gonna put that on my tombstone, probably.
You know what mine's gonna be.
Yes. Well,
People
wait.
don't read.
Is it above your desk right now?
It is above my desk right now. Yeah. No, that's cool though. It's like I said, it's fun, and I like to think that you think it's fun. Otherwise, you would continue to do it, right? But
No, I mean, I could probably do other things if I wanted to, but since I enjoy this, I'm probably going to do it for a little longer.
it's never the same thing twice. Right?
It isn't. I mean, that's really truly is one of the things that I enjoy is that it's variable. It's not the same thing every day. I could never describe it as monotonous because it's different.
Right. Yeah. In totally different ways.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of kind of the evolution of those problems since we've been making CD writer. You know, it's like as have things gotten better or worse?
Better certainly, but there are always something. Again, you're going to ask me for an example, and I'm going to stop for a second, see if I can think of an example first.
Yeah.
There are some things that have not changed.
Yeah.
And I think so. At this point, they're probably not going to change because it's been so long. But I mean, certainly from our perspective, when I first started, we barely had Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Right. We did. I mean, there was an interface or maybe two in the version you were selling at the time I started. But I mean, from that day to now, it's certainly been way more Wi-Fi focused.
Yeah. And we were talking about this with a couple other people about how, and you know, how radically rapid the advancement of the Wi-Fi standards has been in the last few years.
Yeah, I like Wi-Fi 10 now, isn't it?
X. I hope they go with X.
It's like you blink and it's like I feel like I just finally understand or appreciate like Wi-Fi 5. And so I don't even have a chance to look at phones on already.
No, it is really, really bizarre how fast that is. And part of it is just because standards are working faster than they used to, which is probably a good thing, right? Like we've all adopted agile practices.
It could be,
but that has the consequence of having like things change more rapidly, and that sucks when those things are hardware dependent. Because like,
I always wonder, I wonder about people who are actually involved in creating the standards. Like, like for them, they're, like Wi-Fi 7 is probably like, that's already old news to them, right? They're
Yeah,
already,
that is what it's like. That is what it's
right?
like. And there is a certain amount of reality check that I have to deal with, right? And I try to keep it front of mind all the time because I remember the old me that was more of a kid when it came to those things, like
Yeah.
a kid in a candy store kind of thing. I'm like, oh, well, why don't we just invent this? And why don't we just change this, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, hold up,
Yeah.
what you're talking about is going to take 10 to 15 years to propagate through the industry.
Yeah.
And that's why Tier 69 is celebrating its 20th anniversary.
Yeah. Look at that. That's kind of amazing too.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing, especially when you consider like what it started as, right? Because it was basically UP&P on the WAN.
So I don't know if I know this, but how far back do you go with it?
I
At the
I
beginning?
I came in about a year and a half after it was published. But
Wow.
that was the
So
first version of Tier 69, which I'll catch everybody up real quick. I've talked about it before. It is a protocol developed by the Broadband Forum that allows an operator to remotely manage your home router. And they can configure stuff, they can bring it on board, they can make sure it's still working, do all this stuff. We've made a better version of it that is the user services platform, which is TR369, that I help spearhead and try to be like, okay, well, I think it's time, right? Part of it was me just getting bored with old things and wanting to do new things, but like, um, so I came in to TR69 or CWMP in 2005. So it was like a year and a half after it was out. And I happened to walk in as a as a tow-headed, bright-eyed grad student when they were talking about testing. I happened to walk into the room because Matt brought me to the San Jose meeting because it was a
oh,
cheap meeting to go to, and I thought
yeah.
I was going to be talking about DSL stuff. So I was like, I'll just see what the other groups are doing. And I happened to walk in where they're talking about testing, and it was like, hey, you guys should do a plug fest, and the rest is history.
Wow. I don't think I knew that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much most of it.
Yeah.
I mean, of the 20 years,
So yeah, it's 18 out of those 20 years.
wow.
Yes, I've been doing this.
It's like you raised a child.
It is. It really does feel like that. And we always kind of joke that like here is Tier 69, the old cowboy riding off to the sunset
Yeah.
who has done his job and is ready to pass off all of the hard work he did to this peaceful town.
USB.
Very to USB.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Very much like the probably second or third greatest movie of all time, Tombstone.
Yeah. That top 5 for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Did we discuss what's number 1?
Princess Bride.
Oh, okay. You scared me for a second.
It is very. That's why it is the greatest movie of all time. We know.
Greatest.
Yeah.
There's no debate. I
No,
will fight anyone who says otherwise.
It's. I actually just went to see Carrie Elwes at the music hall. They did like a.
Wait. I was there.
Oh, you were there too?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like it was end of March sometime?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. How did we not know that we did?
I don't know. That's so funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So in Portsmouth, we have this really nice theater called the Music Hall, and they have some really great acts that come in here. Given that we're only a town of 22,000 people, it's really impressive the kinds of stuff we get there. But they had like a screening of The Princess Bride, and then Carrie Elwes came in and told some stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It's fun. Although, and I feel bad, but I don't feel bad. Apparently, there were some people there who've never seen it before.
When he asked that question and I saw hands go up, I was like, what?
I was like, what universe am I in right now?
Yeah.
And so I was sitting there with Lincoln quoting along the whole time. And I come to find out that the people next to me were getting super annoyed by it. I'm like, this is a quote. They didn't say it's a quote-a-thon, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to think. In my section, there was not much of that, but like they almost started laughing before the punchline came out.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They knew it was about to happen, so I was like, Okay, we're kindred spirits here.
And it's funny because I'm always like, why is it the greatest movie? But Peter Falk actually explains why it is the greatest movie when he's telling what the book's about. He's like, it's got adventure, sword
Exactly.
fights, like
That's all you need to know, right there. That part of the movie tells you what the movie's about
yeah,
and why it's the best one ever.
it is. It is the greatest movie of all time. All right, all right. Is there anything else that was burning in your question that you think the people Sankar's watching this right now? So if there's anything you would want to tell Sankar, like
Wow.
for example, but Sankar specifically, like anything you would want to say to our Cedar Runner customers out there that's always been sort of a burning general announcement.
Me having a general announcement about like telling what we think or
Things that you've always wanted to say.
oh geez, I don't know. I'm amazed that actually I'm amazed that they've been customers for such a long time. It's nice to know that they've stuck with us. Sort of that they rely
Yeah,
on us, that they
yeah,
in some ways depend on us
yeah,
to help them with their testing so they can make better products, right?
yeah,
It's we have quite a few that have been with us for a long period of time.
yeah.
That
I think
so
we just handed out the 20-year award to.
we did, yeah. I believe there was, and there's a couple right behind it, right on its tail.
Yeah, yeah,
So it does give some sense of accomplishment for us,
yeah.
right?
Right,
Like
right.
we are doing something right. We're doing something helpful for these people, right? So that's
Right.
that's great.
And ultimately for ourselves, because when we get
Oh
that box, and I'm like, we've tested this box. Like,
yes.
you
No,
know, I know. Yeah,
people will ask, so people know what I do.
yeah,
Friends of mine, they'll say, okay, which one should I get? I'm like, well, I can offer some opinions because I know how some of them behave.
yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. And so it's always humbling for me when I see the Tier Series 9 page, like on the interface. I'm like,
Hmm.
yeah, it's still working. Yeah,
Yep.
so it's out there. Hey guys, you see that? I
Yeah.
made that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's I I've fallen into the boat now though of telling people to just go with what their operator gives them because
Hmm.
because of Wi-Fi, right? Which is the ultimate first pain point of a value-added service for
Yes.
operators.
Yeah.
Like they're doing so much to make sure that that works. And if you tell them to screw off, then they can't do that for you. So
Right. No, it's true.
yeah.
Buyer, not buyer beware, but like if you know what you're doing, you better know what you're doing if you go off into the woods.
Right, right. Firmware updates, all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right, dude. I appreciate it. Thank you for doing this on this holiday week, and it's
Yeah.
gonna come out exactly next week. So
Cool.
we'll
Hopefully
spread
someone will
the
watch it besides me.
me. It's gonna be us and Sankar and my dad, and that's
Hey, it's a good audience.
right, right. Okay, if it's at least that, then I'm satisfied.
Appreciate it.
I
Thanks
do.
for taking a chance of talking with me.
Yeah. Like I said, I trusted your radio personality, so it's
I have a face for radio. It's true.
quick. Change the video up. All right. As usual, everybody, please hit that subscribe button. If you're watching us on YouTube or if you are on Apple Podcasts, subscription makes it you're just automatically get the next one and you'll see what's going on. It's very helpful for us to know who's watching and whether this is all worth it. And above all, just like Brian and I, please own the nerdy things you love and have fun doing them. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.